And did this indeed happen? It did happen. And at the point in time, we also do know that there are related issues that we can all say have happened over the last couple of years that have been a cause for concern for many other related parties. And Gifty.
Right, Roland. I mean, if I have the liberty to share my thoughts on what has just happened, I think it's so wrong. I think that if the people say they provided, they sought the police permission. I mean, they need to notify the police. That's what the law says. They've notified the police. They've gone out there. If the people were observing all of the protocols, this particular encounter then shatters the entire protocol. People come together, people are being attacked, and you listen to the lady who spoke finally and screaming, and I mean, we cannot be allowing these things to happen. I think that once they have the they've notified the police, if anything, they should be given protection and not what we're seeing now. But of course, the police, I mean, the law should take its course, and I hope that his lawyers will be able to get them through all of these.
Well, definitely. And we do know that the regulation is a Public Order Act, and once you notify the police, then the appropriate protection, but also respect need to be given once the permits have been given.
Yeah. Well, it saddens my heart, but let's move on from there. Let's take a look at our latest Hotline documentary, and it focuses on the business of news. The need for news has never been greater in these times. People are constantly turning into broadcasts and scrolling up for coronavirus updates, but news outlets are grappling with a cash crunch. So the industry is adapting quickly. The media, a virus, and survival is our latest JoyNews documentary produced by Arba Kumsin, our editor here. She examines how the news industry in Ghana is surviving this pandemic. Excerpts of the documentary that will air at 8:30 p.m. today.
COVID-19, the deadly virus which has spread to every continent on the globe.
What's it like to actually have the coronavirus and undergo treatment for it?
Just 63 days. That's how long it's taken 17,704 people across the African continent to get infected with coronavirus.
The lives of thousands have been snuffed out as the ripples of an unprecedented pandemic, the COVID-19, the scale of which has never been witnessed before, reverberated across the globe, bringing robust economies to their knees and putting almost every sector, including the media, in distress. Now more than ever, the need for information has become pronounced. But how will Ghana's news media navigate these uncharted waters to live up to their mandate as they reel under the impact of this pandemic? The harsh impact of the coronavirus pandemic has been felt across board, and nowhere is it more felt than in the newspaper industry, which has already been struggling. With the onset of the coronavirus pandemic, their woes have worsened. I'm here today to speak to managing editor of the Daily Dispatch, Ben Efson, on how the pandemic has affected their business and how they are adopting innovative ways to stay alive.
The Dispatch has been around for about 22 years. And COVID was the first time that for 1 month the paper was off the stands because the vendors were just not, people were not going to work because the vendors sell by the roadside. So for 1 month, there was no newspaper on the stand.
Because of the lockdown?
There was a lockdown.
Executive editor of the Daily Guide newspaper, Fortune Alimi, has lived this experience too. As a manager of one of the country's popular newspapers, he has had to take some tough decisions after patronage of their paper dropped significantly following the announcement of the lockdown.
We took the decision not to come out at all But after coming out, we need to also take a lot of measures in order to stay afloat. As I said, we need to cut costs. We need to cut down even on production. We need to cut down on the hours of production so that we save production costs, electricity, transportation, fueling. We need to cut down on a lot of these things.
Let's talk about the impact it's had on the business. You mentioned that people were not patronizing the newspapers, especially during the lockdown. Why is that?
Why is that? Because people were not out. 2, the vendors were not even there. Even if they were there, they were not ready to also sacrifice their lives because they are also dealing with the public, the handling of money. You realize that one of the means of transmission of this disease is handling of money. You see traders, hearing traders also contracting the disease. Where did they get it from? Through money.
All right, so that's a documentary put together by editor Araba Kumsen, who will be joining us via Zoom so we can talk about this. But certainly, this pandemic is taking a swipe at everybody. Araba, it's good to see you. You're looking amazing, as usual.
Look very beautiful and a comprehensive inset so far we've seen.
Yeah.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Gifty and Roland.
Thank you.
So the media, a virus, and survival. What more should we expect at 8:30 tonight?
Well, you should expect to hear from some of the media managers and broadcast journalists that I spoke to about how it is impacting directly on their work and their sales. They are unable to generate enough revenue, and it's affecting them. They've had to take cost-cutting measures, and they are also making some proposals to government on how they can be assisted. Because as you know, government has assured many businesses that it would offer them some form of assistance or support in the form of a stimulus package. And so the media industry managers are also looking forward to that, because in as much as we talk about other people's businesses and how the pandemic has affected them, we really feel to put a spotlight on how it's affecting us ourselves. And so we felt this was a great opportunity to put the spotlight on ourselves, let people see how it is also affecting us, because now more than ever, people, especially because they are under lockdown or they are working from home, they have to depend more on information from the media. And so our work is more important now than ever. We've had to step up in terms of programming and offering information to the public. But it's also affecting us, and we thought that it was important for people to see how it is directly affecting us as well.
I see in the excerpt, a part where you talk to people and they say, look, we've had to cut down on the numbers, and obviously advertising has been, the advertising budgets have reduced, etc. What should we expect in terms of the cash burden that this pandemic has given media organizations as well?
Well, in terms of very specific numbers, we are unable to tell how much they've lost as a result of the pandemic. People were unable to give us the specifics, but generally, everybody across the board, people have had to, adopt some cost-cutting measures, like laying off staff. Others to have asked their staff to go on a long leave. Others to have had to, shut down for a few days. You heard Uncle Ben there saying that during the lockdown for the first few weeks, for at least a month, they were not producing any newspapers. So it's really been hard hit by this pandemic. So a lot of them are looking forward to the support from government. Many say that we need to come together as a collective and push an agenda for government to see how important it is for them to lend a helping hand to us in order for us to, deliver effectively on our mandate.
And before we let you go, though, have we had these media owners and the shareholders or editors able to tell us how now they've discovered perhaps new audiences, new demographics? If you take a look at how millennials and even young people tend to absorb news, social media also became a thing, at least in the international media as well.
Right, so it's interesting you asked me that, because I spoke to a communications and marketing lecturer at the University of Ghana who was suggesting to the media managers that because they are seeing a cut in revenue from advertisers, probably they should be gravitating towards the digital space. And so a lot of the media managers have told me that that is where they are looking at in terms of generating revenue, because obviously they've been affected by the revenue cut because people are not advertising on their platforms, on the traditional platforms. So for example, the Daily Dispatch newspaper is now going digital. Instead of buying it on the streets from a newspaper vendor, you can now subscribe and get it directly on your phone. And so they're hoping that they can chase the advertisers there in that digital space.
It's very interesting, and I'm looking forward to that, Araba. I'm also hoping that there will be the positive side as well. I believe that there are people who have seen some very innovative ways of making money also with COVID-19. So I'm hopeful that that will come up as well. But take us through the times again, the times within which this documentary will be airing, both today and I believe tomorrow as well.
Okay, so on television, on the JoyNews channel, the documentary is at 8:30 p.m. tonight after the JoyNews Prime Bulletin. So that's at 8:30 p.m. tonight. And tomorrow, there's a repeat of it after 9 o'clock, I believe. But on radio, it's a few minutes to 9 o'clock. But if you want to catch it on radio, on Joy 99.7 FM, you can tune in at 9 o'clock. The documentary will be aired then. I do believe that they'll be speaking to some members of the Ghana Journalists Association on the back of that. So that's for radio and television. But it's also available online on myjoyonline.com.
Great work, Araba, that you put together. I put something small together for World Press Freedom Day. It wasn't easy, so I can imagine how this came out. and all the sleepless nights.
It was fun doing this.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Araba, thank you. Araba Kumsin, the beautiful Araba Kumsin. She's an editor here at JoyNews.
An intelligent Araba Kumsin. Yeah.
Oh, of course. I thought that was a given. That's why I didn't add it.
All right. I'm a big feminist. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's Araba Kumsin's documentary, The Media, A Virus and Survival. It's coming up tonight. You want to make a date with us. And trust me, that will bring you excerpts all across the bulletins as we go along. Right now, Roland, it's time to get a bit jiggy, talk about entertainment.
Yeah, definitely. And Kadi will be here, give us the latest updates from the world of entertainment on AM Showbiz. And you will know that Beyond the Lockdown featured a lot of the organizers, the artists themselves, and those columnists, etc., on how coronavirus again has affected the industry. Stay with us.